This is Tim from Hygraph, and in this video I want to talk to you about a new starter kit that we created for Hygraph. And it's dipping its toes in composable commerce, because that's a super interesting and upcoming thing at the moment, or probably been the last few years, right? And so before startups, I worked at agency and I did a lot of work for bigger platforms that are luxury, cosmetics, jewelry, things like that. And so I thought, why not grab the essence of what a fancy brand wants to do in cosmetics and make a starter kit for you to figure out how that all works, right? How you can give you some building blocks to actually then work with for later. And so we came up with a brand called SKNCRE, but with a bunch of vowels taken out. So it's like a fancy product name now. And so I had these designs from a hackathon I did a while back, and I thought, I'm going to grab these designs and make you a starter. And so, as you can see here on the screen, SKNCRE is a super luxurious brand that sells only three different things for the skin, and it's all based on snail slime, and you can buy routines, and there's product highlights and subscriptions and super editorial, rich, lush animations. And well, I say animations, I took them out actually because they were a bit much, but you can see this looks like something that is high tier, expensive, and I thought, why not show you something like this for a change, right? It's a proper luxurious demo. And I was a little cheeky. You can see performance, accessibility, SEO is all 100. Let's just remove that for now. We don't really need it. And so when it comes to composable commerce, especially at scale, what you see is that product information is generally enriched in a system of its own with specialists at the brand level doing that. And then the CMS itself tends to work with pages like these, right? Like super nice editorial, components, storytelling. And then having a shopping cart or a checkout or, payment systems is again another part, is a commerce engine. And so in this starter kit, I chose to say, you know what, we're going to grab information from an external system that's all product stuff. We're going to put it in the CMS and we're going to build these lovely pages. And I leave it open for interpretation how you want to make the shopping cart or the checkout. And if you're like, I don't know how that works, just wait a bit, because in the coming weeks and months, we will be adding to this starter by creating integrations with things like Commerce Layer, maybe Commerce Tools, BigCommerce, a whole bunch of different ones to show you how you could do it. For now, let's focus on the data first so you can, see how this works. So in Hygraph here, you can see this is my SKNCRE project statistics and stuff. First and foremost, let's think about that schema and how it works to get that information in from an external place. And so we have remote source for Federate This SKNCRE. And so Federate This is something that our DevRel team have been working on for a while now. And so Federate This is actually a platform that has mock API data that we can use in a myriad of different demos, right? So we have generic products, we have reviews, we have movie information from the OMDP, we have dev.to block routes. There's a whole bunch of things. And here you can see SKNCRE fake product line. And so this is GraphQL endpoint that you can use in any demo that doesn't require user IDs, credentials, money, none of it. So because we use this, you can just clone this project here and just get it for free out of the box. You don't have to do anything. It just works. And so this is a GraphQL source. So it fits like a glove into Hygraph, and it literally becomes like you query that system, but you don't know because you're querying Hygraph, and Hygraph makes it feel like this is completely native. So with that out of the way, you can see there's a bunch of models for pages, product focus, that's like a little component inside. For example, this is a product focus component. Then we have like a related product component, which is, let's go to a product page here. Something like this, related products based on this product, of course. And so I called those components, I shouldn't have said that. These are models and these are components. What those are, we'll see in a sec. Let's just go and see how this homepage was built. So as you can see, the homepage here actually has a hero. It has a routine component to show off, whatever range you can buy here. It has a product highlight for the face serum, and there's some editorial related stuff like a lovely image, a product icon here, or like a card. And then, hey, there's a subscription model as well. Go for it, right? And so we've done that by using something we call Hygraph components. If you want to know in depth what that is, there's a link in the description to the documentation. And so a component is just a schema, but it's attached to the page here. So this little hero here with the 3 forms, or for the 3 fields, you won't find it floating around and query it on your own. It's actually connected to this page, because what you can do now is say, well, let's move it down a sec, or move it up again. Like, you can do a bunch of things as a content editor with these components that make it life a bunch easier, right? So this is like the bit of the page buildery type approach in Hygraph next to the super strong data stuff that we do. But you can see there's also a product highlight. And in here, what I decided to do is not have fields, but actually have a relation field to a product focus. And the product focus is a thing on its own. And those do live all over the place, and you can query a bunch of those if you want. I just wanted to show you different things. And so this one, you can see here, has a product ID. And this product ID 1, we can have a look at that here when we go to products and, do the playground. Product ID 1 has a bunch of ingredients for snail slime, and it's actually the face serum. So by just adding this, now Hygraph knows, because it has this federated API of Federate This in there, that it just returns you that thing there. So when you now go to this page, this information is actually in the query that you can do just by querying Hygraph. If you want, let's just do that so I can show you. So we're looking at the home page, right? So let's go to the playground. Let's go and open the page and say, well, the slug has to be home. And we want all the components. And let's go to the product highlight, which has a product focus attached by one of those links. So let's have the CTA description, ID. Let's see what we need. The product information, ingredients, name, price, title, and what else do we need? The slug of the page itself. This, just whatever this is. Let's have a look. And so now for home, we have the components, which is what we were just looking at, right? The things you can drag and drop. And this is our product focus component. And there's the information about the product itself. And this part is actually coming from Federate This, which is here. And so it feels completely native. You can just query all the things in here with one query and get the stuff that you need. And so that's what you're seeing here. And so it's kind of native to Hygraph now to use this stuff, and content editors don't have to worry as much of understanding how it works with these external APIs. It just works out of the box. And then we have product pages, for example. A product page has its own slug, a title, description, OG, image related things, right? And then it has a bunch of components again. So we're literally just building these pages up. But then after the components, you can see there's another product ID, right? And so if we let's have a look at the schema of this thing to show you how it actually connects that up. So when we go to a PDP schema, you can see there's actually a GraphQL remote field for a product. And if you have a look, if we edit that, it's actually going to the Federate This remote source with a post. And it's just querying that system, so this system, and we're giving an ID. And the ID that it queries is the doc product ID, which is in turn this field here. And so when we now go to the normal product page, this ID 1 that I type here will actually then query a product in here. So we can just, rather than products, we can go to product ID is 1 and give me the name, hit play, face serum. Right? That's exactly what Hygraph is doing for you here. And then you have a bunch of those components you can drag around again. And so this feels like a good vibe for a content editor, and a developer doesn't have to understand how to query anything else. So with that in mind, now that we know the basics, let's have a look at how the frontend actually works, because I used Nuxt.js. I'm a Nuxt ambassador. I'm a long-time user of the system. I love it. It makes me go super fast. And of course, if you're not a Nuxt user, but you like Next and React, or you like SvelteKit, or you like Astro, join us at slack.hygraph.com and tell me, Tim, I want this in Astro. Tim, I want this in Next. And you know what? We might do it. Because why not? It's not that complicated to build these things, because it's mainly creative driven. We use Tailwind for this. We can do something like this in Nuxt, Astro, SvelteKit as well. So let's have a look at what we have here in Nuxt. So this is a relatively simple Nuxt app. So it has Tailwind. It has the Nuxt GraphQL client because we have to query GraphQL. We use some Google fonts and we have Nuxt image. And why that is cool, we'll look at that in a sec. And so we have two routes, just the home and the product pages and fancy font family. And there's not that much to it, right? So we have to look at the pages. We have an index page. And so what I've done here is actually we have a composable called use page. Use page or a composable can also be potentially a hook in Nuxt, but it does slightly more. And so you can look at that composable here, and use page will actually just query GraphQL through whatever we have in the environment variable here for the GraphQL host. By the way, I'm going over this super fast. If you want to know how that specifically works, there is a video that I will link in the description, or I'm putting one of these cards where you can see how I set up Nuxt specifically with this way of doing GraphQL, because it's super cool. We actually have a page query that I just put here in a file, and this will now be using code gen and a whole bunch of extra helper functions in Nuxt that just let you use this stuff all over the place. Right? So when in my use page, I just say, use async GraphQL for the type page or product page with this slug, and then all my information is there. I don't have to do very much custom stuff here. Let's see, what else do we have? So there's a few things that make your life as a developer happy in this setup. First of all, images. Images are always complicated, right? And so what I decided to do is actually, you saw it already a little bit here, we're using Nuxt image. And Nuxt image really helps you to do stuff with responsive images, lazy images, things like that. And we created a provider for Hygraph because Hygraph can actually do cropping, doing different quality settings, different file type settings. You don't want to do that by hand. So I made a provider so the Nuxt image can just say, give me quality 90, this type of crop, width and height, run, and make it responsive. So without going too deep in that, there's a whole bunch of concatenation of, URLs. And in the end, it will help you a lot when you look at the hero, for example. You can use a Nuxt image with a provider Hygraph, an image that just comes out of Hygraph, and then you can say, well, I want it for small screens to be 100 VW, so 100%. And you could actually then say for the medium, I want this to be 50. And now it will just do a whole bunch of responsive image stuff for you. And the quality can be 90, and you can do a whole bunch of really cool stuff with this. And it just helps you a lot as a developer not just have to think about images, because images are complicated. And this is very similar to what you see in Nuxt image, for example. It's almost the same thing. And so the next thing that I built is actually a little plugin to turn on preview mode. And so let me show you how that works. So when we actually go to a page, so in the content, pages, you can see this one is draft here. And right now, if I were to go to that page /test, it wouldn't work because we're not querying draft, we're querying published, right? So test will give you a 404. So what I've now done, I've set a preview here. So when you click it, you can see it just preview equals true, and you see a little lightning here in the top, and suddenly you see my test page. So when I remove preview again, you no longer see it. And so these are just these simple things. So when a content editor is actually creating a new page, but they haven't hit publish yet, you hit preview, you can see directly what you're doing. So you can actually say whatever, hit save, refresh, and oh, that's the title on the browser, sorry. Let me just put that here. And there you go. And it's directly viewable while already deployed on Vercel. And that's the beauty of the Nuxt preview mode. And so you can actually preview everything you do, even if it's not published. So that works super well. And let's see, I think that's about it for this video. I know it's been quite long. I'm hoping you enjoy this stuff. Please join us on our community at slack.hygraph.com. Try this thing out, clone it, check the description for all the links that you need and a blog post about this, and cheers, happy coding.